I can remember being a little kid and going on to commercial sites with my dad when they still used hardwall inside, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was, that was in the late 60s is when that transition was happening where drywall was coming in. And there's a lot of stories that have been told on this that, certain trades could have ended up with the trades that are now taken over by somebody else because they said that this stuff would never take on. Like it wouldn't be accepted in the industry. So like the plasters had the chance to take on the taping. And they said, no way. And the lathers had the chance to take on the drywall, and they said, no way. And they walked away from it, and it got taken over, which was very, very interesting.
Yeah, to watch it all happen, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And when you went into business for yourself, you never got back with your dad again, or did your dad come and work for you?
Actually, my dad did fold his up and come to work for me for a while. And he had a place down at the desert, and he was coming back and forth, and he had a place here as well. But he finally just said, I'm done. He was age 60, and he knew I didn't need his guidance anymore. I didn't need him to be, help me. And,
Sure.
So he retired. He had 17 good years of retirement life in the desert. He passed away when he was 77. And I can't believe that's 13 years ago.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Still think of him every day,
Yeah. So you guys sound like you had a great relationship.
We did. Yeah.
You really did. And he was a little hard on you though in the beginning
He
because
was.
he was
He
like,
was, yeah, he was always that way.
Sink or swim.
Yeah.
Right.
Pretty much. Yeah. Or, if I went to him with a problem that I could solve myself and asked him to help me, sometimes he would just say, sounds like you got a really bad problem.
Yeah. Tell me how that works out for you.
Yeah. He was one of those kind of, he's old school. They're all like that. All
Sure.
those guys from that era.
Absolutely.
And they did things that we could never do,
Sure.
It was just a different time,
Well, yeah. So we were softer than them.
Yeah.
They were softer than the generation before, and now we look at these guys now like it's just that's evolution. Are you guys having a hard time getting good labor now, or do you have are you bringing new labor into your
a little
organization?
bit? We have a pretty loyal group of people, and we don't put ourselves in positions where we have to get a lot more people. I just try and stay my own size. My business model is small. It's like $5-6 million a year. If I can do that, I'm good, and manage it.
Sure. Sure.
And I have a lot of good accounts that are there for me, and I seem to be able to do that year in, year out.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. That way you can take off.
Yeah, I'm 57 years old. I've been doing this a long time.
Yes.
Yeah. And I before COVID, we were just starting to, get out and travel and go places, and I could leave the office and know that everything's okay. I could take a 2-week vacation or whatnot, or go golfing in the afternoon.
Sure.
But now, COVID, I was in the office every day, all day, because I had nothing to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Everything was shut down. So
Sure.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Are you still taking jobs off?
I do when we're swamped, but I'm starting to lay back off of that. The code's changed 3 times, and I've got a young man down the way that seems to be able to cover almost everything, and he knows the code. He reminds me of me. He can recite. His name's Marty Bowers. He can recite code without even looking. And if I need to know something, I just walk down the hall and ask him.
Got it.
Because I don't keep that information the way I used to. As you get older, you just don't.
Well, you don't need to.
Yeah. And I oversee everything, and
you watch your store.
I do. Yeah. I look at all the billings and who's not caught up on change orders or whatever's going on.
Yeah. Did Marty work in the field?
No. Marty, fun story. Marty was a bag boy at the country club I belonged to when he was in high school. And one day, we were going on a men's trip to Hawaii, and I said, why don't we all just throw in $300 and take Marty with us? And we did. So we get to the plantation course in Maui, and we're playing Texas Hold'em at this big round table. And Marty grabs the cards, and he's dealing like a Vegas dealer. He's pushing out the cards that apply at the end of the hands, and I'm watching him, and I'm thinking, at the time I was in this cowboy poker game every Wednesday night, so I thought, well, I'm going to bring Marty and have him deal for us. So I bring him to the game, and everybody's happy with him, and he starts getting, tips, and he deals every Wednesday while he's in college. We started tracking who was winning, who was losing, and how much Marty was getting in cash. He got $22,000 in cash in 1 year dealing that game.
Is that
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, time goes on. Marty graduates from college, and he gets he has an accounting degree, and he goes to work for an accounting firm, but he doesn't like it. And about 2006, he goes to work for one of the mortgage brokers that plays in my poker game. And now he's a junior member because he can afford to be, because he's dealing our poker game and he's got a good job. So he's a junior member. And I walked up to him in 2007 on the driving range, and I go, Marty, I don't think you're in the right industry. And I think that the train's about to come off the tracks. And if you're ever interested, I'd like to show you what I do, show you my software, show you how it works. I think you'd be really good at it. He goes, oh no, we've got millions, whatever. We're good. Okay. So that night he's dealing the game, and the mortgage broker didn't show up. About 11 o'clock, his name's Tom. He walked through the door and he goes, Marty, I'm really sorry to tell you this, but we filed bankruptcy today. And Marty looked down, and he looked up at me, and I said, Monday's good, Marty. And he's been working for me ever since.
Wow.
Yeah. He's like a son. Yeah.
No shit. Wow. And you taught him all the ins and outs about the industry, and he paid attention, and he asked questions, and he's been with you ever since.
Well, he's been with me. He's seen the operation when it was employing over 100 people, and he's seen it like this. And there were a lot of people that influenced him in my office other than me.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But he saw me, lay people off, and he saw the bad times. And I think that him seeing all that is going to help him going forward, because I'm probably going to do something with them eventually. I won't try to sell my company externally. I would sell it internally. So,
Got it.
yeah.
Got it. Now, Scott is still with you, correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
And he has a number of years in the industry as well.
Yeah, he's 67. He's been in the industry over 50 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Good guy to have on your team.
One of the most knowledgeable guys when it comes to lath, waterproofing. One of the most knowledgeable guys I know.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
So between the two of them, they give you a little bit of freedom.
They do.
They're taking care of business for you.
They do. Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
I've got a superintendent that's been my superintendent since day one.
Is that right?
Yeah. I've got two guys that have been with me since day one. Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
I mean, there's been a lot of people that have come and gone, but yeah, there's some people that work for me that are pretty loyal.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they're going to retire.
Yeah, we're all getting old.
You know?
Yeah.
So, it sounds like Marty was a good pick for you. He was young. He was young enough.
Best pick I ever made.
Yeah. And it's weird how that shit works out to where you said to him, hey, dude, I don't think you're going to cut it in what you're doing. And, he's like, oh, yeah, man, we're handling billions of dollars. And then, boom, that stuff went sideways on him. And he's found a nice home. And that's good for both of you.
It is.
For sure.
It is.
And he gets along with everybody in the office as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So, and zero field experience.
Zero.
He asks the right questions.
He asks all the right questions. He can see what's going on. He knows what needs to be done as far as setup and breakdown, and where the labor goes and how much is needed. And
yeah,
he's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that,
Thanks.
for sure. Now you're on high up on the association for WWCCA.
I'm currently the vice president. Yeah.
That's been a long
Well, there was
deal for you.
There were 16 board members when I took Gary Jake's seat, and he retired, so I took his seat, and it'll be 16 years that I've been on that board because I'll be president next year.
Is that
Yeah,
right?
so it's just
That's how that works. Got it.
correct.
You don't get voted. It's all about the time you've had in.
More or less, yeah.
get to that.
Technically, it's a vote, but that's how it works.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it's invaluable to know your competitors or know people that might want to do business with you.
sure.
It's helped me a lot. I mean, if I hadn't been involved on that board, the executive board for the WWCCA, I wouldn't have worked on the Korean Airlines project, the 73-story downtown. I wouldn't have been on that job, But I got to know Robert Klug and Dick Martin,
Sure.
And they're good guys. They're good people to work with, There's all those men are good people.
They are,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
All of
They all have a lot of integrity,
Yep.
and they've had their ups and their downs.
Yes,
and,
they've seen it all. Yeah.
it wasn't just an overnight deal for any of those guys. Now, what was that the biggest job that you ever sprayed?
That was the highest profile. I've worked on some big jobs, but not in the heart of downtown. You don't see a building like that go up too often.
No.
No.
Didn't you do the Monster Hotel down there, the one that just got completed?
No.
You didn't do work on that one?
No. The big stuff, Beverly Center was big.
Yeah.
Starting a 500 Broadway, that's a big one. That's downtown. Not like the 73-story, but
No.
yeah.
Man, that's
I'm working with Superior on that one.
Got
We're
it.
just getting ready to start. They're another company. They're great people. Good people to work for.
yeah.
Good team of people.
Yeah, he has some great talent
He does.
over in that
Yes, he does.
organization.
Yeah.
For sure. Really, the guys that work for that company, and a lot of the companies, they treat it kind of like it's their own. They run it like it's their own business, and they take a lot of pride in it, and that's good for them, and it's good for the owners of the business as well, because they're taking care of business. And a lot of those guys have been working for those companies for many, many years. It started at the bottom in those companies, just like your superintendents that are working for you. You can trust those guys, and they've never let you down. And that's hard to find these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Loyalty is hard to find.
Yeah. So where's are you a Southern California native?
I am. I was born in Sierra Madre,
Got it.
1962.
Nice town. It's a nice little
Yeah.
town.
Yeah.
Almost bought a house over in there. It's pretty unique.
Yes.
That little village down in there.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool place. And then your old man said you're either going to do this or you're going to get out or you're going to get out.
Yeah.
And
You're out.
You had that experience up there in Idaho. Have you ever done any other work out of town?
A lot. Yeah. Miserable places like Bakersfield and, hot, working. I worked on Palm Desert Mall. I worked on the McCallum Theater Arts Center out in the desert, be ready to go when the sun comes up.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. And shit dries pretty quick then.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anything out of state? Any jobs out of
Other
state?
than that Idaho job, no, never. As a contractor myself, I've never really needed to. If someone asked me to, I would, if it were a good opportunity. But generally, no. I try to just stay around here.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's been good to you.
It's been good. Yeah.
You know, you made a lot of good connections, and we're getting the job done for these guys, and repeat business out of the same guys.
I've worked on a couple of high rises in San Diego, and I didn't have to pay subsistence because my gun crew lived in Tijuana.
Perfecto.
It
was nice
worked
and
out
easy.
good. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have been able to secure that work if I had to pay subsistence. You know?
Sure, sure. Are you guys having any issues right now getting materials through all of this
Not
stuff?
at this point, no, we haven't. But I know it's coming.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff going on out there
Yeah.
as far as being able to get the raw products for the manufacturers. We've had issues with it, and now also too on top of all of this pandemic stuff, you know, we're getting these rolling blackouts. A lot of the products that were, you know, you need power to create them, so they're getting shut down. You know, through all of this heat waves that we've been having.
The first work day of the shutdown, a truck went into Grace to pick up a load of MK6 for us, and the plant told them that they're shut down. They're not essential.
Is that right?
Yes, and you know, phone calls had to be made because we're under contract to perform
On essential jobs.
Yes, yeah, and they opened right up, and that wasn't the deal.
Got it.
But that's what they had planned on doing, I think.
Interesting.
But nothing's. I mean, everything that's bank financed is go, keep the schedule. You know, there's a COVID protocol, but the jobs aren't stopping or shutting down at all.
No.
I've had one job where a person on the job that didn't work for me tested positive, you know, and they're like, "Are you going to quarantine these people?"
Should we?
If they start having symptoms, absolutely, but
Sure.
But nobody showed any symptoms, you know.
Well, your crews too. They're not working on top of each other anyways.
No.
They're spread out. You know.
Yeah.
Got a guy up on the nozzle and a guy pushing the scaffold around and scraping. Right.
I had those
Basically.
sleeves made that you just pull up. It's like a, and they're machine washable. They work good.
Yeah.
Everybody's happy with them. Everybody uses them. Yeah.
A lot of those guys on the fireproof crew are wearing an M95 anyways.
Yeah. Well, the gunman has to.
Yeah.
For plastering or fireproofing for
Sure.
sure. Yeah.
So they were already ahead of compliance on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's strange stuff. Do you have any kids in the industry?
I don't. My grandson, maybe, but at this point, no. I don't. Other than my cousin Scott, I try to keep from bringing family in because if it doesn't work out, there's always animosity, and I don't want to have that. And I want to see my grandson get into a business or industry that isn't like this one that just gets hammered when the recessions hit.
Sure.
Something a little more solid that won't affect him like that. you know?
Yeah. That's understandable.
Yeah, like selling insurance or, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Not construction.
no.
Not construction. Yeah.
It's hard on a contractor, you know. And the only ones that really can stay around are the ones that are responsible with money management.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't, you'll be gone, you know.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, a lot of these companies that are growing, you know, your payroll as a union employer is massive.
Yeah,
It's a massive freight train that just
I can remember when it was six figures, you know, and
per week.
yeah, and thank God I'm where I'm at now. I'm real happy where I'm at now. It's not, you know, I'm not staying up at night worrying. Put it that way, you know.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, there's a line there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And bigger, better, faster isn't always the way. You know,
No.
to do that.
Right.
To do that. And you found your balance.
I did.
Found your balance.
I found my size, and I just stay my own size. You know?
Sure.
Yeah.
And you've been to the game,
Yeah.
you know, and you know what works for you.
Yeah, I had the ambition you know, when I was younger to do package 9. That's everything. That's framing, drywall, lath, plaster, fireproofing, and sometimes other things like insulation and whatever. You know, I took a swing at it and I didn't do very well. And I'm okay with that. You know?
Yeah, and it worked for you for a while.
Yeah.
But then
Had a couple good years, yeah.
Sure. And then times changed.
Yep.
So are you guys are doing eifs?
Yeah. Yeah. Not consistently, but we do it from time to time, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, I thought it was going to come back there for a minute, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's really...
No. There's a lot of alternative claddings that have come into the game that look different, and these younger designers are jumping on that stuff. Whether they work or not, you know, some of them in 5 years don't look too good, you know, and so they could get retrofitted with something else, you know, but they look different, and that's what they're going after. And a lot of these projects have a lot of different variations of claddings on them.
Yeah.
You know, where they're mixing it up.
And a lot of the contractors are doing rain screen.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. What's your opinion on the rain screen stuff?
Jury's still out. I mean, there's a building at Azusa Pacific University down the street from my shop where they did that, and it looks horrible. You know, it's only been 10 years, and it looks ridiculous. So I don't know. I haven't really looked into it because I'm not interested in doing it, but I don't know how they warrant their products. And I think it's just like just getting off the launch pad, really. I mean,
Sure.
So
It sure is a hot topic.
yeah.
You know, as far as letting air in and letting water out.
Right.
You know, to make that happen. But some of these claddings don't look too good after. I've seen stuff in 3 years that looks terrible.
Yeah.
You know, that's the latest and greatest stuff. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. But they sure are pushing it a lot.
Is there any company that dominates rain screen already, or I don't know.
I think it's used a lot up in Seattle.
Okay.
And you know, they're using cement panel siding up in those areas. Metal panels aren't new anymore. You know, that's kind of like a rain screen where they've got these Z furring and so forth on there where it's held off the wall. But a lot of that stuff looks the same. You know, it's if you've seen one, you've seen them all.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I see with that is all super high end paint that is used to, you know, pre-paint those sheets. And it's like 25-year paint. And then, you know, there's a lot of it that is caulked on the joints. So when it's time to paint it, that's going to be very interesting to see what ends up happening, because all that caulking needs to be dug out so that they can sand in behind it.
Gotcha.
And then as far as I know, the only thing that you can use now in California is water-based paint. So what gets painted must be painted again, you know. So that's going to be really interesting to see what ends up happening with that, because that stuff, you know, a lot of it is like metallic finishes.
Yeah.
So are you going to be able to get this new replacement paint in a water base that's metallic? I don't know. You know, we'll see what ends up happening with that. But lath and plaster, you know, you can get a lot of different finishes with it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's very durable.
Yeah.
You know, are you guys doing any CI jobs yet where you're having to put 7/8 over the top of insulation?
Every time we run across that, there's always a change or a redesign. We haven't had to do that yet.
Got it. Well, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
And all these jobs that are coming up they're making it up as they go. And there's a lot of RFIs, and there's a lot of
You remember when we were playing around with that clip?